Are you the type of player that really puts in some effort when building a new character? You really want to dig deep into their background, where they're from, why they became an adventurer, and are you, like me, not satisfied with the current alignment system in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition? Well, I got a PDF you should check out. Also, do you want to play a race like a half-dwarf or a other half race like a half dragonborn, half lizard folk person? I got another PDF you should check out as well. Hi there, fellow Dungeons & Dragons players and Dungeon Masters alike. I am, like always, Mr. Tarask, your favorite third-party 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons reviewer. I review hard copies, soft copies, physical copies, and PDFs. Well, lately I've been reviewing a lot of PDFs, and I have to start off with something that I'm very proud of. This video you're watching right now is officially sponsored by the Dungeon Masters Guild themselves. Yes, the Dungeon Masters Guild, not the creators that made these PDFs, but the Dungeon Masters Guild themselves, they reached out to me and they asked me if I wanted to talk about a few modules from a certain point. That's a certain topic that's really been discussed lately in the 5th edition stuff. A lot of it has to do with inequality, discrimination, and racism and stuff like that. I do not get involved into politics on my channel because for me, I just want to get this out of the way very quickly. So first of all, I am sponsored. This is sponsored, so I look over these PDFs and give you my opinion. And the fact that this is sponsored does not mean that I'm being bought or something. I wouldn't do this if I didn't like these PDFs. So I really think they're worth the money and time for you to check them out. Also, the politics side of it all. I realize that I am a privileged white male. I am white. I grew up in a place that we weren't poor. I never had to look discrimination and sexism or whatever in the eye and be confronted with it. On certain occasions when I see discrimination or whatever, I will always react, and I do not care who you are, I do not care where you came from, you are welcome at my table. Period. And that's all I want to say about that. But due to this discussion, a lot of people, a lot of creators started rethinking some stuff in Dungeons & Dragons, and they built some really interesting systems in Dungeons & Dragons. So the Dungeon Masters Guild has sent me a few of those PDFs, and they said, talk about whatever you want to talk about, just talk about it on your channel. They offered me a $500,000 to do that. No, just a little bit less than that. Just a few bucks to do that. Also, I got these PDFs for free, like always, but I will not bore you with those details. So I will just go into this. Again, this is a rambly video. This is one of those PDF videos I do. They became very popular, so I just continue to do these. I really like to do them because they're off the cuff. They're not scripted. I don't really prepare except that I read this stuff. Anyway, there's 2 modules I want you to check out. The Dungeon Masters Guild actually sent me 3 modules for free, of course. First one is Realigned. The one you're looking at right now is called Realigned, and this is an awesome, very simple, awesome system for the alignment system. Very bad alignment system in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, because I personally feel that the alignment system in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition right now is really restrictive. Like, if you're neutral good, you should do neutral good stuff all the time. That's just not how it works, and you need to readjust your alignment after a while, and it's really a hassle always, so people just forget about alignments, which I think is a shame, because it can also help roleplay and help the Dungeon Master. If they ask, like, what alignment are you, they can make a choice what their NPCs do and stuff like that. So I really think there should be a better alignment system, and this Realigned PDF does just that. It has 3 systems in it, but I will talk about one. The one that I will, from now on in the future, implement into my games as a Dungeon Master, because I like it that much. I will implement it in my game. That's how much I like it. Anyway, there's 2 other modules. First of all, there's the half race handbook, which is basically a very simple system to build half races, like a half dwarf human, or a half dwarf with dwarf and elf, and stuff like that. You can mix races with each other to be a other race, a hybrid race, and you can, there's like 3 types of races in here that can intertwine, so to speak. So there's, first of all, there's like races that have like penises and vaginas, so they can reproduce with each other. Then there's like races that lay eggs, so they can reproduce with each other. And then there's like created races like Warforged, and you can put bits and pieces together to create another one of those. I will talk about that also because I like it a lot, and I'm going to play a half-dwarf. Enough said. And then there's another one which I will not talk about, and that is the Grazilex Guide to Fey Ancestries. There's no reason I won't talk about that other than that I am not into Fey. Period. Probably a bunch of you guys are now like, okay, we're not going to watch this because he's not into Fey. I'm not into Fey as in player characters. I never play Fey. I never play elves, never play draw. I don't know. I'm more into the Lost Boys than I'm into Tinkerbell, if you know what I mean. It's just something that I'm into or something that I'm not into, and I'm not really into Fey. I like using them as my villains. That I do like, but I don't like to play them as a character, as a person who plays like a player character. So I will not talk about that. So I will just click this one away right now if my mouse decides to work with me. Yes. Realigned. First of all, Dungeon Masters Guild, thank you for sending me these. I really like them, and these are of the kind I wouldn't have checked them out if they weren't sent to me and if this was not sponsored. I'm very honest with you guys. If it wasn't for a sponsorship, I wouldn't even check these out, because this cover, first of all, it doesn't really pull me in. I mean, there's like realigned. That's what it says. It's like dark and it's like, just doesn't pull me in. So I wouldn't have bought it. I wouldn't have grabbed it. I wouldn't have reviewed it if not for a sponsorship. But now that I read it, I'm actually very happy with it. And I'm completely honest with you guys. I'm going to use this. I'm going to implement this in my games. And that's why I want to share it with you guys. Because they didn't offer me $500 million. So if they did, maybe I would review things that I didn't like. I don't know. Everything is for sale. Probably, I don't know. But I really like it. So without further ado, I know I'm always talking way too much when I do these before I actually start it off. And they talk about the history of alignment, and then they talk about the problem of alignment. And it basically says the same thing. I just summarized. The problem in alignment is it is restrictive. It restricts role playing. It doesn't put into account that your character can change, which I like a lot. Characters should change. Like a neutral evil character can become a good character after seeing stuff they don't like, and after their friends took it a step too far, they were like, hey, what the hell just happened? I mean, Darth Vader saved his own son. I mean, he was a freaking evil dude, and he saved his own son. Whatever happened after episode 6, I will not talk about, because those films do not exist. Anyway, the system that is in here is called a focus axis. It is so simple, but genius. It's simply genius, or geniusly simple. I don't know what it is. It is just very good. And it's basically a bar where you can be in the middle, which gives you a 0, or you can go up to 5 points to the left, where you only think about yourself. And you can go up to 5 points to the right, where you only think about others. Or you can be something in between. You can be an absolute 0. I mean, you're not a 0, I mean, you're just a neutral person that thinks about themselves, but also about others, and always weighs the possibilities. Or you can be somewhat more to others, but you still keep track of yourself. Or you can be completely selfish, and you can just be like one of those thieves that only steals from themselves, and like the Joker or something, I don't know. One of those people. That's so simple. But they take it a little bit further, and I really like this one. You as a dungeon master can give your players, so they talk about, first of all they talk about examples for people who are all the way to the left, people who are all the way to the right, and why they could change from a 4 to the right to a 3 to the right or to a 1. It says here that it is up to the dungeon master to decide. Whatever the player does, the dungeon master can decide like, hey, you were a 2 right before towards others. Yeah, I think that was a very selfish move you just did. I think you just should take it a step back to 1. It has to be a conversation between the players and dungeon master. Players can be like, yeah, I did this thing. Wouldn't it be cool if I now move a little bit more to the right? And you're done as a dungeon master. You can of course be like, yeah, that was awesome. You can perfectly do that. I mean, that was purely awesome role playing, and as a dungeon master, you should always reward that. But they came up with boons you can give your players wherever they are on the scale. So for example, when you're balanced, you're even-minded. People are likely to recognize you as fair and reasonable. You're assumed to be operating in good faith when arbitrating disputes or negotiating deals. So you're just a regular, good-hearted guy, and you won't do anybody any harm, but you also think about yourself. You're just like, I mean, you're always working in good faith. You're like a person that sells a car, but won't sell a crappy car to a teenager who wants to buy his first car with cash he saved. Because then you're just being a dick. That's just my opinion. So I'm a little bit to the right probably on the scale, I don't know. Anyway, you get a boon, you gain inspiration when you convince someone to weigh the effects of their actions against their personal gain. That's when you gain inspiration. That's one of the boons. But the more you go up, so the more you go to the left or to the right, so up and down on this thing, you actually gain other boons and other stuff. For example, if you are a 3 to the right, so towards helping people, you are a very you're a person who really wants to help other people. You gain the boon Helping Hand. You can use the help action as a bonus action. Now, this seems a little bit overpowered. So don't go as a dungeon master giving these away like it's nothing, right? Just think about it. So bonus action as a help action as a bonus action is a really powerful thing to give away to your players. Let's just put it at that. In combat, this can really become a problem. But for example, if you are selfish on the second level of selfish, you are better alone. You suffer less suspicion or social stigma when you go places or do things by yourself. There's also the first level of others, the others part, when you think about it, after you. This one is cool. It's called After You. When you roll initiative, you can trade your result with one friendly creature with a lower initiative score than yours. I mean, that's a cool thing that rewards people for their action and actually gives them stuff they can do because they did certain actions. And I think this is a very simple system that would work really well for me as a dungeon master, because it's simple to keep track of. I mean, next time I'm playing a game, I'm going to tell my players, take your character sheet, turn it upside down, write down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put at one side, put self, on the other one side, put others. And then circle where you think you are, and then I will go hand out boons, but I will take it and give it away as I please, because I am the dungeon master. So I think this is a very simple thing. I think it's a very powerful thing. Of course, I go deeper into talking about how you can do it, what exactly boons you can give. Also that it's perfectly okay to come up with your own boons or your own stuff. But I think it's cool that they only give away positive stuff, even if you play a completely selfish character. The thing is, this does not invite you to become a good character. This invites you to play your character. And you get rewarded for playing your character. And that's what I think is awesome. Even if you're like the most selfish person in the world, you still get self-preservation. You gain a +2 bonus to your armor class while there is no conscience allies within 30 feet of you. that's cool boon. I mean, that almost never happens normally in combat, especially not in a dungeon. But if it happens, it's cool and it suits your character. Also, thing I should say about this is, whatever level you are, you can, as a player, pick out one level above or one level after it as an extra boon. So not all boons are yours. Like, it's not that you're on level 5 and you get all the boons from level 4, 3, 2, 1 to 0. No, you get like level 5 and level 4. If you're on level 3, you can choose the level 4 boon and the level 2 boon together with your level 3 boon, if you are following what I'm saying. So I think that's cool. It's a cool little thing that I will use, and I will absolutely, I already have a screenshot of this on my phone, so whenever I sit down for my next game, I will absolutely use this, and I think my players are going to love it. That's what I think. Another thing I want to talk about is the Half-Race Handbook. The Half-Race Handbook is completely different, and again, it is all about this discussion about races and discrimination in your games and everything. And actually, the first chapter in the book is actually called "Let's Talk About Discrimination," and they talk about why you should end discrimination in your game. I totally agree with everything they say, but there's like one sentence in here where they say, "No more discrimination in your game," and I do not know what they mean, because I personally have one villain in my game who is really disrespectful towards women. This villain, he's a villain, he's a freaking asshole, but he is disrespectful towards women. I have 2 girls in my party, my own girlfriend and a very good friend. Oh, another one joined lately, so 3 girls in my party, and they hate that person. They don't hate me for playing that person, because they know I'm playing that person, but they hate that person. And so for me there is a difference between that. It's like, would you hate Leonardo DiCaprio for playing a slave master in Django Unchained? I don't hate that. I don't hate Leo for that. I'm saying Leo as if he's my best friend. We share beers together, which is not the case. But I don't hate him for that. I hate his character. Oh my god, I hate his character. So yeah, I really wanted that character to die, but I don't hate the actor. So as a dungeon master, I think you could put it in discrimination and everything in your game, but give it a place. And that's, for me, that's all I want to say about it. Give it a place. Don't let it just be there for whatever reason. It's just there. That's stupid. That's lazy. If it's there, give it a reason. I have one villain. It's a Jarl. He's a Jarl, and he's disrespectful towards women, and that's why the girls in my party absolutely want to go kill him. And they will kill him. I promise you that. And I will enjoy when they kill him. Anyway, about half races. Very simple system. Oh, by the way, there's in the other thing where we were talking about, there's 2 other systems to replace alignment, but this one suited me the best, so I want to talk about that one. If any of the other 2 suits you more, feel free to use it. I will, of course, link all of the PDFs in the description below. Click it, buy it, whatever you do. Click it, buy it, work it, whatever you do. Pick it up if it's for you. If it's not for you, don't pick it up. Just, that's the basic idea. Simple thing. Half races. Where do I start? Because it's not as simple as the thing. First of all, you get to pick this ability score modifiers. Now, they split up the races in, like I said, in 3 race types. First of all, the ones with penises and vaginas who can do their thing with each other. Then the ones that lay eggs, and then the ones that are creative. First of all, there are the oviparous, which is a word for people that lay eggs. Well, races that lay eggs. For example, Aarakocra, Dragonborn, Gith, Grunk, Kenku, Kobold, Lizardfolk, Turtle. They can intertwine on some way with each other, and the thing what you do is you basically take one. For example, Dragonborn. You pick one of you pick either the strength plus. Let's say you are a Dragonborn / Lizardfolk. So right here the Dragonborn, right there the Lizardfolk. You take the Dragonborn. You can choose between the Strength +2 or the Wizardfolk Constitution +2 in the first column. So let's say we take the Constitution +2. Or you can be like the Dragonborn. And you can, for another one, for a minor one, you can pick charisma +1 or wisdom +1. So you can go strength and constitution, or dex and charisma, or dex and constitution, or strength and charisma. That's basically what you can choose as your ability modifier, which is a very simple system, but I like it. And there's also like for people that have viva pares, which are people with parts that we use to create other humans and other creatures. Like for example, let's say, and this is where it bugs me. This is where it really bugs me. I cannot for the life of me picture a human. I'm just gonna outright say it. I cannot picture myself. No, I cannot picture a human together with, I don't know. I can see a human together with a Goliath. Yes, with an orc even. Even that, but with like a Minotaur or something like that, or like I mean, that's just weird. I don't know what you're into, but I'm not really into that. That's just weird. So it might come off, might be due to rape or something. I mean, that's a good story, and that gives it a good reason. And I, as a dungeon master, would invite my players to give all this stuff a good reason. So why are you a half ... How did that happen? Well, I don't really know why it happened, how it happened. I've never knew my father. Good enough if your players are not like really comfortable with talking about certain subjects, but I invite your players to come up with something. Loss of memory is also a reason. So I would never put my players in a position where they have to use subjects that they're not comfortable with. So anyway, yeah, let's say a dwarf human, half dwarf human, you can go Constitution +2, and for a human that would be any other one +1. That would be a half dwarf. I really like that. Because I've always wanted to play a half dwarf. Now, for the features, they split it up in major features and minor features. I really like this. But first, I have to talk about they talk about dominant races and recessive genetics. So dominant genetics and recessive genetics and neutral genetics. So the dominant ones are the dwarves, dragonborn, elf, firbolg. Then the recessives are Asimir, Bugbear, Halfling, whatever. I don't know how and why they came up with one being dominant and one being kind of recessive. But that's just the way this system works, and I really like it as a system. I don't know why they put some in one column and the other in the other column. I just really like it. And the major, you can choose one major of like the following features considered major feature. Regardless of the combination of races that you choose, you can only have one race's major feature. These are typically more powerful abilities, such as an innate spellcasting or flying speeds. So you can pick one major feature from one of your races, human or dwarf. Pick one feature. Or Dragonborn. Or what did I say? Dragonborn together with a lizard folk. One major feature from one of those. That's your major feature. Period. Then you can pick, like there's like, of course there's a dwarf dark vision. There is a radiant soul, shape changer. What else is there? There is Turtle natural armor. Kenku has this Kenku training proficiency with the two of the following skills. Major feature. Basically a feature of a certain race. I'm scrolling down where they stop talking about. Then there's minor features. The following features are considered minor features. You have up to 2 minor features depending on the features chosen. For races with sub-races, you may pick blah 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 blah. Whole system with the sub-races thing. But you need to pick one minor feature of your dominant one, and then the second minor feature you can choose from either the dominant or the not dominant one. So one major feature from either one minor feature from the dominant one, and one minor feature from either one. Basic science. I don't know how they come up with this. I think it's ridiculously good. I really like it. I'm going to use it and I'm going to implement it in my game. yeah, and that's basically it. That's basically how system it can be. And then they just give like a half elf and half orc thing, where they of course completely take away the old dispute between elves and orcs, which I really like. I mean, because these PDFs really come from a certain we are against discrimination, we are for equality type of thing, and people started thinking about it and came up with these ridiculously cool systems. So of course they use the half elf and half orc, elf and orc thing, because it could happen if in your game elves and orcs aren't like natural sworn enemies, then that's perfectly fine, and it's your game, it's your D&D, play it whatever, however you want. I'm just talking about the system. So yeah, they talk about a few, there's like a kobold folk, lizard folk and kobold folk, which is some really cool artwork right here. They talk about, let's see, 1T, Yonti, 1T, Half-Blood, yeah. That's what I wanted to talk about. These two, I have a hard time finding my words for some reason. These two PDFs, I think they're really great. And they're really great systems to add to your game because their simplicity. First of all, the Half-Race Handbook is something you only use as session 0 when creating a character. Then you can just throw it in the garbage and you just play and you don't need it anymore. So that's something, it doesn't get in the way of your game. It doesn't have potential to get in the way of your game, so there's no reason not to use it, and I am going to give this to my players when they want to roll up a new character. And then there is the realigned thing. This comes up during a game, but it only comes up now and then during a game, and it really adds, I think it can really add to your game. Because the alignment system right now in 5th edition, it's just not good. I don't think I know anybody who really likes it. But this alignment system, with like the bar, like 5 and 5, others and self, I think it's really awesome and I am going to use it. So again, Dungeon Masters Guild, thank you for sponsoring this video. Thank you for sending me these and pointing my eyes towards these PDFs, because I wouldn't have checked them out if you didn't. So I'm really thankful for that, because you actually added to my game, which is so great. If you guys pick it up, if you guys have any opinions on it, make sure to comment below, like this video, click the subscribe button like always. And until next time, I hope your inspiration may guide you.